Good evening, brothers, sisters, and gender norm resistors. It's time to get back into Blender and deal with more texture stuff in our Texture Boot Camp number 2 with me, your host, Ollamh. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, we're going to be dealing with more texturing, far beyond just the basics, just the basic, oh, hey, here is the principled BSDF and stuff like that. Yesterday we went over all of the inputs for it, including some of the odd ones that you don't. I really haven't seen a lot of people deal with stuff like clear coat, or sheen, or anything like that. Those are actually kind of ones that I literally have never seen anybody deal with clear coat before. Even though clear coat is kind of important, because it's like, yeah, this is kind of the, it does affect things as far as, painted objects and stuff like that, especially if you have like a fiberglass coat, like a car, like it said. The clear coat basically helps protect the paint. But sometimes you don't want to protect the paint. Sometimes you just want it all to get grungy, dirty, and just really mess it up. And that's what we're doing today. We are really messing some shit up today. So, with that said, let's pop open Blender here and get into some really detailed, really specific parts of texture. So, boom. All right, so let's, I really need to just get this done and normalize it. So, we're actually going to probably have our shading stuff down here today because that's just going to be easier and more appealing. Before we do any of that, remember to turn on the screencast keys. Yes, there we go. All right, so what we're going to wind up doing, we are actually going to, why are you not actually doing the thing? Okay, there we go. There we go. That's better. Now it's showing up. All right, so yeah, we're going to make things easier on ourselves, we're going to use a monkey. Monkey! All right. So we're going to zoom in on the monkey. We're going to take that panel away. We're going to add in our subsurface. We're going to add in a layer of 3. We're going to apply it. We're going to come up to object. We're going to shade auto smooth. So now we have a nice smooth monkey head. Monkey head. All right. So, down here where we don't want world, we actually want just object. We're going to say brand new node group. You know what? We're actually going to make this one our... We're actually going to make this one our world. So we can adjust things as far as our world settings and everything there, but... So, all right. Layering up of all of the nodes and stuff that we've dealt with so far, and some that we haven't. We are going to build a metal layer, a rust layer, a paint layer, and we're going to build them in that direction. We're going to start on the inside and move out. That's the best way to do it, honestly, is start on the inside and work your way out. So first thing we're going to want is we are going to want a noise texture. We're going to want it based off of the object, and we're going to want a color ramp. We're going to connect those up. We're going to connect the color to there, and we can already see it starting to work. So we can bring in the black value, bring in the white value, And it looks kind of cloudy and stuff like that until we come in here and we crank up the detail. Now it looks a lot crunchier. We can bring in the roughness here. That's pretty good. We can bring in the white so that it's a bit more contrasted. There's still a little bit of gradient between the two, but not too much. So now we're going to want to bring this one down. We're going to want to Control-Shift-D to duplicate that, and we want to color this. Now, coloring is kind of, you know, it's really based on what you want to see, what you want and stuff. So we're going to start with kind of an orangish brown, a slightly orangish brown. And we're going to say that to a 0.1. Now, in between those two, if we hit the plus button, it's going to give us something right in between those. This one, we're actually going to want more of just a bold orangish. And then we want this one to be more of a slightly different brown, maybe more reddish brown. So if we plug that into the base color now, we've got this. Now for the color, we can crunch these in a bit, so we bring the brown in a bit. We're gonna bring this one not that far in. And we're actually, I think we might want this more of a, maybe a little bit like that, maybe. 0.15, so it's kind of got this more rusted, more kind of more grungy part to it. So that's going to be our basis. Now, that's good for the color. That's good, I think, for the colorization and stuff. But of course, you know, where it's brown should be just straight metal. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to say add in a mix node, and we're going to come down here and we're going to change it from float to color. We're going to leave that one at 0.5. We're going to plug the base into there, and we're going to plug this color ramp into here. And plug that into the base color. So now, see that what it's doing is it's putting this in, and if we really crank up that white, really bring the white in, that gives us our rust parts right in close, and really just kind of using that as an alpha matte. So basically it's saying everywhere that if we look at just this, everywhere that is white is going to be color A, everywhere that is black is going to be color B. And that's important because that's going to help us really differentiate everything. And that's what we're really going to be using to drive our other mixes and stuff. So we're going to add in, nope. We're going to want to say duplicate this. And we want that, we still want the color from this going into the factor. But now we're going to say the metallic. And this is where things get really wild. So color A is where we want it to be able to see the metal. Color B should be non-metallic. So now we have metal and then the rust. Looks really flat still because we haven't touched the normal or we haven't created a bump map or anything like that. But I want to hit Control-Shift-D on this. So we're duplicating it, but we're duplicating it with the inputs. So now we want to plug this into the roughness. And it's backwards. It's saying, hey, the rust is perfectly shiny, but we don't want that. We want the rust to be perfectly rough. So now we're starting to get somewhere. Now we're really getting something funky. So now we've got a perfectly shiny metal with that, but I think we might want that at 0.15, so it's kind of showing metal, but it's not polished metal. We don't really want polished metal. Actually, we might want to bump that up to 0.25. So again, we're still getting that metallic look, but it's not, like I said, it's not highly polished metal. So that's good, as is. And now we want to add in a bump node. If we just take this, we're just going to take that one in to the bump, into the normal. And we're not seeing anything in this view because it doesn't really, the lighting isn't really affecting it. But if we take it into our rendered view, we can see how it's starting to kind of show a little bit, but not much. It's not really that much of a gradient. So I actually want to hit Control-Shift-D on this one. Bring the color out to the normal. And open that up. So now if we zoom in, we're seeing that it's really, really crunchy. It's really, really just... We might want to squeeze the black in a bit so that it's really hugging that. But now we're seeing that it is looking really crunchy in the lighting and stuff. Which, again, that is what we want. We want it to look really crunchy and really just kind of gnarly and rough. And again, because it's a pot, we're going from from 0 to 1. It's really really standing out a ways. If we bring this up to 0.5, it's not really going to change much, but it's not the upper end isn't going to, basically it's not pushing the black part down. Again, we can dial this in as we dial it, but if we dial it too far in, you see it's starting to even out the actual the actual surfaces. So now we've got rust on metal, and because of all of this, if we change some of these factors, it's going to, if we want more like mud type thing, we can bring the roughness down so that it's more just, it's not as detailed and as crunchy. If we ramp it up, it's affecting all of this. I'm thinking about a 0.75 probably is about where we want it. That looks pretty good. So now we've got this metal thing that's starting to rust. And again, if we want to change it so that the rust is actually going in, we would change this from a 1 to a 0. Now it's eating into the metal, which I always think looks a bit better. I think the rust should be, because the rust is, think of it like this. As it rusts, the metal is breaking apart, so it actually would dig into it. I always like that a bit better. It looks like the metal's actually deteriorated, like you're eating into the metal and stuff like that, which is where you want it. So there we go. That is our rust. Now, just to bring everything together and say, okay, so We have our rust colors and everything like that. We're going to bring these in. We're going to tighten everything up a bit. We're going to select everything. And if I remember right, is it Shift G to group? Is it Control G? No, Control G puts it into that. Oh, is it just, no, it's not J. Is it Shift J? No, Control J. Control J. Okay, that's what it is. Control J to basically make a frame for everything. Now we can just move this all around. We can, while hovering in here, we can hit the N button. Make sure this is up. We can come over here. We can name the frame as Rust. Add the label as Rust. So now if we look at, zoom in here, we can see this is the Rust, which is good. But that's not quite what I showed when I was doing the advertisements and stuff, when I was doing the thumbnail. I showed it being painted with chips of paint showing through to the metal. So we're going to Control right click and sever all of those. And we're just gonna take this and we're gonna move this down here for right now. So for the paint, we're gonna actually add in a Musgrave texture. Again, we're gonna set it up. We're gonna base it off of the object. We're going to add in a color ramp. We're going to put the height into the factor, the color into here, just to give us a look-see as to what this is. See, we can crank up the detail so that it's a bit more detailed. We can bring down the dimension so that it's has a bit more crackled edges, a bit more jagged edges and stuff like that. I think a 0.6 is pretty good. And then again, we're going to use a mix node to really drive this. So we're going to say color. We're going to drop this color into the factor, this into here, and it's going to look like it all disappears. But again, we're going to paint it red, so boom. So now we have red and that, and the black parts are going to be red, the white parts are going to be I think that's how it is, isn't it? Yeah. Black is color A, white is color B. So now we can say, if we just want this, if we just want that, we can say Shift D, no, sorry, Control Shift D, so that we actually have our, our input in. Again, we want the red to be non-metallic, but we want the B to be, we want the metal parts to be metallic, so we plug that in. And now we've got a nice metal. Control Shift D again. Now we want the metal to be, we want the red paint to be a little bit shiny, so maybe 0.45. And the metallic, we're going to say 0.25. And this is going to be our roughness. So we plug that in. Now we've got that. That's good. We're going to Control Shift D on that again. And we want the red paint to be 0.25, have a 0.25 clear coat, and we want the metal to have no clear coat. drop that in. So now you see the clear coat, the paint has a clear coat. It's showing a little bit of the reflectiveness. It's showing a bit more of that, but it's kind of dispersing the light reflections and stuff like that, which is what we want. And then we're going to say we want to add in a bump node for the normal. And we want to take our color ramp down to the height, the normal into the normal. And this gives us, well, not quite what we want. That's not quite what we want. So we're going to say Control-Shift-D on this and bring it down. We're going to drop the color for this one in. Because we want this to be a, the position is fine. The value, we want this at 0.5. We want this at a 0 because black goes down. And then we actually want to pinch it in a ways. We actually want it like almost on top of one another. So if we say 0.568, we'll say this one is 0.569. So now it's really close together. There is a hint of it, maybe 0.57, just to give it a little bit more room. And we could actually take this and just say, what if we bump that up to a 1? Now it's really giving us a difference. We're seeing it as this is the paint is chipped away. The paint layer is actually higher than the metal. Again, if we come into our rendered view, look at it from the camera view, we can really see that. We can really see where that is. We can really see that, yeah, the paint is chipping away. Let's just bring that to an even 0.658. And with the color and everything, if we pinch the color in a ways to 0.569, now the paint is literally stopping right where the change happens. We could probably put this at 0.568. Nope. Sorry. 0.56. What was it? 0.5685. So it's just a little bit so that, yeah, it's like right there at the edge. So the paint stops right at the edge. And that looks good. I like how that looks, but we want to bring the metallic for, we want to bring the metallic for these into it as well. So, as we have this gray is what basically where the metal is, we can just plug this into the gray. Or not quite. Well, I guess, yeah, it really is there, but it's that this is a bit too much, so bring this in. Say if we ramp up the scale a ways, that's gonna shrink down the islands that are showing for our showing for our metal, or showing for our rust rather. So okay, so now if we come in here and we say boom, now we have our metal showing, but we need to plug all these others in. So for the rust, for the metal, we're gonna bump that, put that into the bottom slot there. Give it some time, and now the rust is no longer shining through, which is great. All right, so now we're cooking. And then we want the roughness into this bottom slot. So now the rust is no longer shiny. The rust is no longer shiny. It's no longer metallic. And I do believe if we just take this normal one in here and put it in the normal on the bump map, that's no, that's not quite what we're looking for here. So, all right. Well, let's try something here. Let's try taking this. And we'll take this one into here. If we say plug that into the height, what if we what happens there? It's a long ways to calculate it out. All right. What? Oh, wait. Right. So if we flip it, now we're showing, yes, there we go. Okay. So now we have the paint is chipping off. The rust is digging into the paint. Or the rust is digging into the metal. But it's only showing where the metal actually is. You know what? I think the paint, the metal is actually on the outside. So bring this one up. Bring this one down. Now we drop it on the B. Always really difficult for me to see this. So what if we say bump that up to a 3? Yeah, I think that was that's weird, because that really does look like it's the metal's actually sticking out. So now the metal looks like it's sticking in, which is good. Well, we could always just say switch these. So the paint is still chipping away inward, and now the rust is going inward as well. Okay. Sometimes you just gotta fiddle with shit until you figure it out. But there we go. That is there we have our metal monkey head with rust that's digging in. But it's painted, the paint is chipping away, and everywhere that the paint is chipping away, you can actually see the metal and where the metal and that metal is then starting to rust and break away, and the rust is eating into the interior of the metal. Now, if I had just shown you guys what all of this is from the very beginning, you probably, yeah, I mean, there's an understanding that, oh my God, this looks very intimidating. It looks very, very intimidating. But it is important as far as, you know, learning this stuff. So we say here, and we say paint chips. So now we have paint chips. We have the rust. And this is just some of the ways that you can do stuff. I mean, this is one that's, you know, a lot of people want to know and stuff like that. So, and then we just say, take all of these, group these together, and say frame joining. So now we have everything really marked out and really just kind of spread out and stuff like that, so it's all very, very manageable. And that literally just took 30 minutes. That was 30 minutes. If you know what you're doing with this stuff, you can do it pretty quickly. I mean, this is something that I've done on numerous models that I've made, and stuff like that. So we're gonna go ahead and bring you guys back. We're actually going to break that, and we're gonna do some more stuff. So now, let's make a texture for like dirt. Let's make it dirt. So I think what we're gonna want is another Musgrave texture, because that one seemed to work best for something that was like kind of patchy and stuff like that. We're gonna add in another color ramp. Plug you into here. Plug you into there. We're gonna want to really crank up the black, crank in the white so that it's really showing brightly. We're gonna bring that scale up so that it's kind of there. And bring the detail all the way up. We're gonna bring the dimension down until it's just kind of patchy, kind of, you know, a fair amount of patchiness. Now we could bring the detail down a bit so that while we do have some breakage, it's not like it's not jagged, or at least not as jagged. So I think probably about a 9.5 will work. That should look good as far as being mud or dirt on the paint. So we're actually going to Control-Shift D to duplicate that with the input. We're going to change this red, or this black, we're going to actually change up to red. We're going to change the white down to a black, so it's just going to be like a lot of grunge, a lot of like dirt and stuff. Now we could change that so that it's actually like 0.25 on the saturation, 0.025 on the color. We're going to make it more of a brown. Now we have kind of this patchiness. I don't know. I think the details are a little bit too much. If we bring that up to 0.6, that looks a bit more like patched mud. Bring that down to 0.75. Bring that up to a 0.8. I like that. I like that. That looks a bit more, because like I said, you're not really going to have that starkness So now if we take this and we plug this into our color here, into our color in our joiners as point A, and we bring that over and plug it into the color. And that's kind of, well, no, that's actually is what we want. Yeah. So you can really see how, like, well, like, the dirt's really just kind of showing up on the paint. So it's like the paint was grunged up and dirtied, whereas the you know, and then, well, where the paint has chipped away, you've lost that dirt because the dirt was literally just on the paint chip, on the paint itself. So our joinings need to be over here. But now we have the issue of where it's, you know, where it's dirt and where it's not. So actually, you know what? Let's bring the joining over here, back over here. So now we need the metallic. We don't need anything for the metallic. The metallic is fine. But we do need something for the roughness. So we say, well, let's just bring out another... okay, right, because if we try and duplicate something that's in a frame, it will just copy it and keep it in that frame. We don't want that. We don't want it to be in the frame. We want this to be outside the frame. So, all right. That's looking good. But now we want this one. We want to say color. So let's see here. The black is where it's paint. The white is where, okay, so color B will be where the color is. So we want that to be, I think it was a 0.45, wasn't it? I think that's what we did with the shine. Yeah, 0.45. And we want this to be really, really rough. So we're going to say like 0.75. So now if we take this black and white down to the factor and we plug this into the roughness. So now see, the metal is rough, the paint is, it's still a bit too, the grime is, oh wait, that's, okay, that's backwards. Actually, you know what, 0.85 looked good. 0.85 looked pretty good. So, alright, we've got the roughness. Control-Shift-D for the clear coat, which the clear coat was 0.25, and the clear coat on the mud should be 0. So if we say clear coat there, now it's really standing out a lot. So now we just need to make it so that that bump is affecting it properly. So if we say, no. We just want to hit Shift A at a bump node so that we can get that set up properly. Come up here, we say, bring it down from there, all the way down into the height. We say, take that into the normal. Now it's really bumping up. However, we want a gradient. We want it to be more of a gradient. want it as stark. So what if we say an ease? Alright, let's make these a bit more just standard. So 0.5 and a 0.5 and a 0.4. So you should be 0.4. You should be 0.5. We take that to an ease as well. That'll match everything up. So now we're seeing it kind of clumping up a bit. But again, the mud just looks like it's just basically just another layer of paint or so. So I'm thinking we wanted to say color ramp. No, I know what we want. We want to say duplicate you. And we want to actually take this noise texture down to here. And we want to take basically this map into there, and then that into the height. So now now that noise texture is kind of blobbing up the mud. So now it looks a lot more like mud. Now if we change these back to linear, give it some time to calculate everything. So now, now we have mud, a bit more mud. We punch in, squeeze in the black. See, now it looks like chunks of, really a lot of just chunks of mud. I'm thinking we're going to want the roughness up all the way so that it's not producing any kind of roughness or anything. The specular is a bit high. So the specular on the mud should be kind of almost a 0. If we say dimensions up to 1, that's going to really just kind of muddy it up. Sorry, those were whole numbers. So now we have a lot of mud. See, I want that to be a 0.5 because I don't want it sticking up quite as much as all that. So now we need to adjust this so that it's really in there. So now we just have like, yeah, there's like literally parts of mud sticking to it. I like how that looks. Like I said, it looks like it's just like globs of mud just on it. And we could actually go ahead and say Control-Shift-D. We're going to move this way down here. We're going to make it a separate one for the factor here. Because I want this to be 0.5. Nope, never mind. That was a mistake. To move. So what we want is we want a color ramp in between these two, so that we can control where it starts. So we're saying 0.5 on that end. And if we say here, we're going to say like a point. If we say 0.75, it's not going to stick out as much. It's basically limiting where that is. And if we bring this in, we could kind of almost like, there's a finite point where there's just so much mud that it's just smoothed off. Like it's no longer clinging to it. So it's kind of clumping up, but there is a finite point where it can only clump up so much. And then like it's starting to fall off. Come in here, we come from the camera view. Yeah, I don't know if I like that so much. I kind of just like the just general clumpiness. And then of course, like I said, we can go ahead and come in here, we can adjust this Musgrave texture. So if we want, whoop, not that one. We want this one, yes. So if we say click on this and slowly bring it down, we can adjust how much mud there is. So there's fewer clumps, but they're a bit bigger. Or we can like really ramp them up and get them kind of gooey. I like that. I like it. Let's go ahead and kill the frame rate by taking a screenshot. Of course, we haven't added in all of the other stuff. I just realized that. I just realized we hadn't like joined up, so this roughness needs to come down here and plug into this point, and then you need to go to the roughness, and then the one going in for the clear coat needs to come down here and plug into there. And then plug into the clear coat there. Now, here's the real question. Can we combine this without too much of a problem? We plug this into the normal for this bump map. What happens? Takes a long time to calculate. But that is looking. Let's get our lighting in here. All right, and we also need to plug this into the metallic. I can't read that. I can't read it. Okay, there we go. So there's the metallic. So now we have the metal looking like metal. We do have the paint chips. We increase that strength, that'll give us a bit more of everything, but it's gonna start kind of like really messing up in some areas. Like the inside of that eye, well, the inside of that eye also has like no light shining. So there we go. Now we've got the metallic, metallic showing through the paint chips. Showing, and then rust eating into the metal. And we have the globs of mud that's non-metallic, that's just kind of like, you know, and you even have, I actually kind of like this, like, kind of like, almost like, there's just a little smudging of dirt there. Nothing like a glob of mud, but just like a smudging, so... There's that. Let's actually take our camera. We're gonna go ahead and zoom in real close on the monkey head. But we're also gonna do something else. We're also going to add in a plane. Grab it down to right about here. I'm gonna say rotate this on the X so that it's basically laying flat. And we're gonna take you up to the point, just to the point where it would be intersecting that. There we go. We'll scale this up like gigantic. We'll come over here to our object properties. We're going to make it a shadow catcher. And we're going to make it so that it does not affect anything as far as the diffuse, the glossy, the transmission, the shadows, nothing like that. So it's not casting any shadows. The reflective bits of the monkey head, if there's anything that's reflecting the ground, it's not going to reflect that plane. So then if we take this, boom. And now it looks like it's literally just a big giant monkey head that has rust and mud, that has paint, but the paint's chipped away. There's rust underneath the paint where the metal's showing through. There's globs of mud on it. This thing has been through the trenches. Now, we're not quite finished yet. There's still a lot that we can do here. There's still a lot that we can do. For example, let's come up here. We're actually going to add in a mix. We're going to make it a color because we do all right, so color 2 is actually that. Color 1 is that. So you put there. And we're going to bring you down to our color there. So now if we look at it, see, we still got all of that. So now we can just, now we can, well, we can go ahead and get rid of that. I thought we could. Where are you plugging in? Oh! I goofed that up. I apparently hit, I think I just hit escape and didn't actually undo the creation of a new one. Which is my bad. It happens a lot. It happens a lot. Okay, so I do have those backwards then. So, need that. Need that one there. So now we have our mud back again. Good. And it is tight on that. It is tight on that. which I'm not entirely sure I like. Not entirely sure I like that, but there's bits of that are showing through on there that should not be. Is that because we have... Oh, because it's being driven just by that rather than by this. Oh, okay. Okay, I see what's wrong. That's not going to solve it. So there is a little bit of a problem when they do cross over, which again we can change that by adjusting this so that there is no crossover, or at least not in areas where it's going to be super noticeable. There's still a little bit here and there, but again, I don't think it's gonna be, it's not that noticeable. I mean, they're super small. You have to really zoom in to see any of the points where they're crossing over and that it's kind of goofing things up a little bit. Like, and with the scale of this, yeah, I don't think that's gonna much matter. Well, there we go. That's better. So yeah, see, there is a bit of a goof up there, but it almost looks more like, yeah. It almost looks more like that's just a hole in the mud where some is chipped off, which is fine. So the reason we wanted to make this separate, the reason we want to make this separate is, okay. Well, ooh, wait a second. If we say take you into the factor, and we want to make you black, we want to make you pure white. And now we plug this one into our join as color A. We should still have that nice gradient, that nice kind of like muddy, like smearing effect. Where it's just kind of like a little bit of dirt has shown up there, but nothing too terrible. All right, that's what we want. Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this, we're just going to look at the color of this. We're going to say, add in another Musgrave with attachments. We're going to add in another color ramp. Plug this into that into color A. Really ramp that up. We're going to ramp in the black. We're actually going to make this an ease, I think. maybe even a B-spline. We want it to be really just kind of like, a subtle thing. I'm gonna ramp this up to a red, and that is gonna be kind of these almost like fading of that. Now, I want to try something. I'm going to fiddle with... here's where we go into experimental territory. So we want to say... separate X, Y, Z. We're going to take the normal into the top vector. We're going to say Z into the factor. That did not do what I wanted it to do. What if we say apply the rotation? Okay, I know there's a way to do this where it's what happens if we say that? No, god damn it. Take the Y, maybe? It's so fiddly as far as hitting that. I know there's a separate... No, not separate... Well, maybe separate color. Maybe it is separate color. Because I know each color denotes a specific XYZ value. Yeah, that's just not working. Alright. I know there's a way to separate it so that it's like, it separates it on the vector. And it's kind of, well... I know there's a way to separate it so that it's kind of more of a so that you can get it really in like an X or a Y. So what we're doing here is we are trying to really kind of bring in fades, so where the paint has faded, basically denoting age. Like this thing has been left out in the mud, it's been left out in the sun. We don't want as many hot spots. All right. Now let's bring our view back to there. So now we kind of have some faded parts here, but again, you know, it's still showing the same roughness and still showing the same coat and stuff. All right, so we want this Musgrave. I'm going to bring you down. I'm going to change you guys around a bit. So on the red, we want it at 0.45. Saturation of 0. Here we want it at about a 0.75. Now we're going to drop this into color A on our roughness. Or no, we're going to bring this over here. We're going to bring it down to color A here. What that's going to do is that's going to make those hot spots, those paled where the paint has faded, is now going to be less rough. So you can see it. You can really see it like on this spot right here. The clear coat, we need to do it on the clear coat as well, obviously. So let's see here, clear coat. Okay, so yep, that's the clear coat one. So we're gonna bring it from this one again, the color from this one. So we can't just do that there. We need a second. We need a third for our hot spots. So we need to say Control-Shift-D down. So this one is going to be a 0.25. And this one is going to be a 0 because it's actually basically it's burned through the clear coat and has started to fade the actual paint. All right, so you hate that. All right, you down to here. You are the clear coat right here, so we want you there. That should have it so that once it calculates everything, the clear wow, that's not the clear coat? It should be the clear coat. Did I plug it into the front? Oh, it's still on B-spline. Want you on linear. Yeah, that clear coat is still just really, really not working quite right. If we take the clear coat off, let's check and make sure the roughness is doing it right. It's always fun to try new things. You see, we do still have those hot spots there. And man, things get really, really ugly really, really quick. So doing that off of the paint chips. But let's take you and see there. See, okay. So we may need to bring in that black a ways so that it's really kind of really showing there. There we go. That should have it. So now, see, as we come to the white spots, that really cuts out. So maybe we do still want this at B-spline, but we just want that black really just kind of in there. So yes, there we go. So now you see how the light starts to fade. Bring this back. Bring that black value up. Now it's really showing that difference. So if you look right here, it's fading out. You're not getting nearly as much of a clear coat off of that. There we go. Really scrunch that in. It starts fading pretty quickly, and then you get no real shine off of where the white spots are. Basically, where the clear coat has burned away, and the sun has faded faded the bits of the paint. So there's no clear coat. The paint has started to fade. All of that is just starting to look really, really bad. So let's go ahead and do a screenshot here. And of course, once you get it the basics set up, you're going to want to go in and then dial everything into your preferences. Like the mud, we probably are going to want less mud. Smaller mud, less mud would probably be better. So if we take a look at this, we say, okay, where is our mud was... Give it some time to calculate everything. So here's where our mud is. So we're going to want smaller bits of mud, I think. And we're going to want less of it. Now we have a lot fewer clumps of mud. We have fewer clumps of mud, but we also have a bit more just kind of like general like dirtiness. Again, just kind of dial everything in to where it looks good. So now, like I said, now we've got a lot less actual clumps of mud. We've got more we actually have more smudges and then a few clumped up pieces of mud. We still have our very, very hard our very hard paint chips out. We have our digging in and eating away at the metal. And again, this isn't something that you're really going to want. This is probably not something that you're going to really zoom in on. So, all right. Let's go ahead and take a screenshot of that. And again, you're probably not going to use all of these on one model. It's probably unrealistic to use all of these techniques on one model, especially like, you know, this like very detailed and stuff. Now we're going to so there's all of that. And you know, I started off, okay, you know what? Actually, we can say you, Control J. We want to say you are fade. We're going to come in here. We're going to say you, Control J. You are mud. And yeah, all of these connectors, it's hard to follow if you're just looking at it. You're like, wait, what is all of this? What is all of this shit? That's why you really want to follow a tutorial or something. So we're gonna kind of have a little bit of fun with something here. So we're going to say switch to this one. We're going to come into the rendered view, because what we're going to do is we're going to say we want the texture coordinates. We also want a bevel. We want our good friend the color ramp. And we want something called a vector math. Now the vector math has a lot of different functions. What we're looking for right now is the dot product. So we're going to plug the bevel into the top, the normal into the bottom, the value into the color ramp, and the color into the base color. And we're going to wait for it to catch up with us. Hope that we didn't just freak Blender right the fuck out. I think we might have. Oh, fun Blender. Fun Blender. Yeah, I think we just freaked Blender right out with that shit. Alright, fine. Let's see if we can get it back. Let's see if we can manage to get it back. So, file... recover, autosave. We cannot. It did not autosave? Really? Alright, fine. We'll bring in a new... that is really fucking annoying. That is really, really annoying. Because it should be set up to autosave. Well, even was set up to autosave every 2 minutes. It should have autosaved that at some point. No, it did not. Damn. All right, fine then. Wow. So yeah, I was kind of stupid. I forgot the first rule of anything: always be saving. Yeah, that's annoying. Oh, that is really fucking annoying. Don't be like me. Save frequently. So, all right, fine. Let's set everything back up. Because, yeah, now basically all of what we just did is null and void now. So, all right. That is just annoying. So the dot process, or the dot product is going to net us a very specific thing. Bring these close together. It doesn't show anything right now. But if we go into rendered view, what is your deal today, Blender? That is really frustrating. That is... Oh wait, it's loading the norm render kernel. All right, well, it's rendered. It may take a few minutes the first time. Okay, we'll wait. I still want to know why it didn't autosave. Like, why are you not autosaving? Oh, maybe it might be because of an add-on that I have, but no, I haven't done any new add-ons since yesterday, and all of the autosaves from yesterday are there. That's really weird. So, all right, we'll give it a few minutes. We'll give it a few minutes to see if it'll come back. Ah, that is just, my goodness, that is frustrating. That is just really, really frustrating how it's just like, yeah, like I said, the autosave function just didn't work. And I'm like, why? Which means the picture that I took didn't save. Because I didn't think to save that until after Blender fucked up. Ah, yeah. It is showing that it is, like, chunking away at it. It is working. It is processing stuff. There we go. All right. So if we come in here and say so you can kind of see it in there. But if we really ramp this this radius up, what it's doing is it is slowly, very slowly, we bring the black down, we bring the white up. What happens if we... Basically, it's trying to find what it's supposed to be doing, It's supposed to be trying to find the... Oh, wait, I've got them backwards. Okay. It's supposed to be trying to find the edges. Now, of course, this one, because it's very smooth model, doesn't have as many edges. But if we say add in a cube, we're going to go ahead and add in a bevel, a very tight bevel, 12. We're going to say 0.05. And we're going to slap this same thing on there. Bring down that. Hope we bring it. Oh, yeah. So see what it's doing is it's finding those sharp edges. Now because of the bevel, I think because of the bevel, it's not really picking up those edges as much. But if we bring the bevel down, and we tighten that in, it will grab those edges. But see, this way is kind of funky. It doesn't always work, which is just kind of baffling to me. It's like this is not how it should work. Now there are different ways of doing this. For example, we can say bring in a geometry, and we could say, hey, let's take a look at the pointiness. Which the pointiness actually probably is not going to be very much, simply because those edges aren't very pointy. There aren't really any pointy edges. Now if we take that off, we still don't get much in the point. Now there's another way, what was it? There was a way with two bevels, and I'm wanting to say, was it a dot matrix? Was it vector math based on the distance? And we want the top one like at pretty much a 0, I think. Oh man, it's been so long since I've done this one that it's like, yeah, it's really... That is way too high, I can already tell you that. Yeah, I've done this. I've done this before. It's been so long since I've done anything with like edge detect. I mean, it should, you know, this one should be working. And it kind of is. It kind of is, but it kind of isn't. Like, I don't get why why it's there. Why is that showing so much? Oh man, yeah. Like I said, I'll have to. I'm gonna have to do some. I'm gonna have to play around with this a bit because it's like, yeah, this is not working the way that it should. I've literally done this before, and it's like, why are you not working? Blender is being very, very weird tonight. I will say that. Blender is being very weird. Like, oh hey, now it's saving. Now it's saved. Now it's doing the autosave. That's weird. Anyway. So yeah, up until Blender decided to be a bitch and a half, you did get an idea of what we were going for. So yeah, oh yeah, that is just freaking annoying. It is freaking annoying. That is just, oh my god. Oh well, here we go. Hang on a moment. I just remembered that that I had had it set up. So it's multiply a bevel geometry into a dot matrix. Oh, maybe is that it? Yeah, okay. Why is that so much different than... So, okay. Ignoring this, you have the normal going in, a bevel and a normal going into a dot product, and then saying a greater than, and then you're good. And the amount of the radius is basically how tight in it is. So if we say a really small radius, like 0.005, wow, maybe even 0.001, 0.02, 0.03, that will give you a more of an edge detect, and you can use that as the alpha mask. Anyway, yeah, frustrating as hell when Blender just decides to f***ing crash. Oh man, I'm a little salty about that. Because we had a really good model with metal, rust on the metal, paint over the metal, grunge and dirt on the metal, on top of the paint, and wear spots. We had the whole grand thing, and then it just like, hey, buddy, oh yeah, get it real deep in there. Anyway, oh my goodness, the fun of doing Blender. Yay. As always, thank you guys very much for sticking with me and watching. If you found anything particularly useful, something that you're going to use, make sure to leave it in the comment down below. If you like the video, don't forget to the like button. If you're new here, don't forget to click the subscribe button. If you want to help the channel out, share the video, share the channel link, all that good stuff. There's links in the description down below for to help us out financially and stuff like that. If you want to be kept up to date of when we go live, make sure to ring the bell, but also check out the social media links down below, the Facebook page, the Twitter account, the Tumblr account. All that so that you can stay tuned for more from Ollamh Productions. Cheerio!